when we were going to start. And I want to welcome everybody to our breakfast, even though we're not serving you breakfast. I want to welcome you all to our seminar today. We're very, very excited to be able to have Donna Cornell and Phil Liebman as our speakers today to speak about the importance of staffing, and especially now when things are so up in the air and there's a lot of turmoil, to be able to have good information going forward. As always, with the Orange County Chamber, we give our due and our thanks to our corporate partners. I've said in the past at our seminars that these past months have been very difficult for everyone. And without the support of our corporate partners, we would not have been able to provide the assistance that we have to the hundreds of businesses for the EIDL loans and the PPP, and to be able to provide PPE to businesses. And we have logged hundreds and hundreds of thousands of referrals for local businesses. And that is purely because of the support of the corporate partners. So thank you very much. I'm just going to let you know who our corporate partners are. I asked if you see them. I know Jackie's going to speak from Orange and Rockland in a minute, but I do want to let you know who they are. They are businesses who not only support us, but they support not-for-profits throughout the Hudson Valley. So when you see them, if you have a chance to see them, please say thank you, because without them, our business community would be much poorer. So our platinum partners are the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Cornerstone Family Healthcare, and remember to get your flu shot, Legoland New York Resort, Woodbury Common Premium Outlets, Drake Loeb PLLC. Our gold partners are Access Supports for Living, Central Hudson Gas and Electric, Community Products, DocuWare, Empire State Bank, Hudson Valley Credit Union, Montefiore St. Luke's Cornwall Hospital, Orange and Rockland Utilities, who you'll hear from in a moment, Orange Bank and Trust Company, Garnet Health Medical Center, which is formerly known as OMRC, Touro College of Osteopathic Medicine, Ulster Savings Bank. Our President's Circle is Acquisitions Marketing, Benora Hospitality Group, Interact Marketing, SDA Events, and Verizon Wireless Zone of Orange County. So we want to thank you all so much for everything that you do for us. And now we also have sponsors for this morning's breakfast. So I'm going to turn this over to our good friend and board member, Jackie Frosco of Orange and Rockland, who is the Director of New Business Services.
Thank you, Lynn. Good morning, everyone.
So Jackie, take it away.
Okay, so Lynn, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Lynn, you can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you. So ONR has been a member of this great organization for over 50 years. Lynn and I confirmed it. I think we're 52.
52.
52, and we're very proud to be one of the sponsors for this morning's breakfast. So right now at the company, at Current, the company does continue to see growth opportunities both in the business and the residential sectors. And we know energy is going to play a large factor in the way we work and the way we live. So right now, ONR is proud to say we're driving change in the industry through clean energy initiatives. And that includes things such as solar, battery storage, electric vehicle chargers. We're going to see a lot of that. And then especially our energy efficiency programs for our customers. And then additionally, the company is very much committed to continuing to ensure we're making customer interactions as easy and seamless to meet their expectations, and especially provide avenues that will support clean energy futures. So we do have a lot of programs that will be coming online, especially as I mentioned before, in the energy electric vehicles components. And if anybody has any questions, would like to get more information about that, myself, and we have a whole team of folks in our energy services department that would gladly provide more information. So we're really looking forward to partnering, to continue our partnership with the Chamber and serving all our customers and serving everybody here as well. So thank you again, Lynn.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jackie. And thank you for 52 years of partnership with Orange and Rockland. We really appreciate that. And we have grown together, and there's been a lot of growth that we've all seen here in Orange County. So our next sponsor is, and I see Kathy Parlapiano here, but our next sponsor is Here's Help Staffing. So Kathy, do you have a video?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Lynn, for having us here. What we do have is our commercial that we decided we would play today in lieu of me speaking, because nobody wants to hear that. Our signal goes in and out constantly. So we thought this would be the best way to do it. But thank you.
Okay.
And hello, Donna.
So there we go. So thank you for that, Kathy. Thank you for sponsoring this breakfast this morning, this seminar. You know, as I had mentioned to Donna before I saw you hop on, we are very grateful and appreciate your leadership in the HR and the staffing field here in Orange County and beyond. You've been a true partner to the Chamber, and the professionalism that you have shown and your staff has shown, especially in these times, is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for sponsoring this breakfast. We appreciate it very, very much. And our last sponsor is Scott Perry, but I don't know if I see him on. Scott, are you there from Atlas Security? Okay, I don't think he's on yet. So those of you who don't know, we do have a video. Not sure why the videos are not having any sound. Joanna's looking into that right now.
Hello and good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Scott Perry, and along with my business partner, Matt, I own Atlas Security Services. We're a security guard provider. We provide services throughout the Hudson Valley, as well as in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Matt's a retired trooper, and I'm a retired NYPD sergeant. We've been in business since 1992, and we currently have approximately 200 guards on staff. We provide services to all industries: municipalities, educational, healthcare, retail, entertainment, etc. We have a list of clients that reads like a who's who of Orange County and the Hudson Valley, and we're very proud of that fact. We provide the same services that the multinational companies provide. However, we maintain a hands-on approach where myself or my business partner are available 24/7. In addition to the security services such as armed and unarmed guards that we've been providing for several decades, recently, due to the new challenges we face, we're providing temperature screening, wellness questioning, the maintaining of social distancing guidelines. So if you or any of your clients have any questions regarding security services, please reach out. Thank you for your time and have a good day.
Thank
Are
you.
you looking
We're going to
for a
replay
job?
the Here's
We can
Help
help.
commercial.
Are you looking to hire someone? We're here to help. At Here's Help Staffing and Recruiting, we take pride in helping people find employment and employers find the best talent available. Call today at 845-344-3434. Here's Help.com, building relationships through opportunity since 1986.
Thank you. Technology, right? It's a blessing and a curse. So I thank you for your patience with that. Now we're going to go into our presentation. And I just want to give a couple of ground rules. The people who came on early are familiar with this, but we're going to take the questions and answers at the end. So please feel free to write your questions in the chat box. I will be monitoring them and I will be asking the questions to Donna and Phil, but that will be at the end of their presentation. So I'm going to introduce two really impressive people right now. One of whom is a really good friend of the Chamber and a really good friend to all of us here in Orange County. So if you don't know Donna Cornell, I'm going to start this out with, you need to. Donna is one of the movers and shakers of not just Orange County, but the entire region, the Hudson Valley, beyond the Hudson Valley region. She's an accomplished author with 2 books out now, and she's a friend to everybody. She's really a friend, but I'm going to read this to you because I will make a left turn into all sorts of true hyperbole, not just excess, but rarely are we able to be to learn from somebody who has the level of expertise, the professionalism, and the humanity that Donna has. And she's been a good friend. She's been on basically every board here in Orange County, including here, the Orange County Chamber of Commerce. So Donna Cornell is a highly successful entrepreneur and has been a driving force within the professional search and career counseling and life skills industry. And she is truly, and I say this without any hyperbole, one of the most accomplished people in the Hudson Valley. Her exceptional leadership talents have been called upon on behalf of many community endeavors. If you know Donna, you know that not only is her resume stellar, but you will see on various posts and various questions that she's helping people in the community and she needs help. So it's not just the organizations that she helps, but it's her neighbors. And so from that kind lifebloodness, Donna, thank you. Her contributions have been far wide-reaching with her commitment to the community by her appointments now and prior to several board of directors, including this chamber. And very timely, it's to mention that she was at the forefront of as a woman, going into the boardrooms where there were primarily men, if not all men. So Donna, on behalf of the sisterhood, thank you. Donna has been cited as among the most influential people in the region and has adorned the covers of regional publications. With little formal education after high school, she has successfully positioned herself as a powerful force. Donna is a good friend to many and a staunch supporter of the businesses in the Hudson Valley. So Donna, we welcome you. And now I'm going to introduce Mr. Liebman, who I have the pleasure of meeting today for the first time. So welcome to the Orange County Chamber, Phil. Phil Liebman, MLAS, is an ALPS leadership founder and CEO, is an accomplished leadership advisor and coach to CEOs and C-level executives. Since 2005, he has led CEO peer groups, think tanks, and speaking throughout North America and the United Kingdom on leadership topics ranging from fiscal leadership, pursuit of competence, and cultivating mojo. I would love to hear that one. That one just sounds awesome. He is currently a fellow at the Thayer Institute for Performance Virtuosity, where he earned the Master of Leadership, his Master of Leadership Arts and Sciences. It is our honor to have you as one of our speakers today, Phil, and welcome again to the Orange County Chamber of Commerce. So Donna, now I'm going to turn this over to you, and we look forward to what you have to share with us.
Well, thank you. Boy, that was some very wonderful introduction for both of us. Thank you for your comments. First thing I need to say is that we are compliant. We are following all the COVID rules and regulations. We are safe to be together, and that's why we're giving the presentation together.
Thank you.
I just wanted to clarify that because we hope everybody follows all the rules and regulations. Yeah. Second thing I wanted to say is that I don't have a podium. I usually have a podium and I can walk around and talk and everything. I don't have a podium, so forgive me if I refer to notes once in a while. And I want to thank Phil for participating with me, but I need to mention the word chamber also. I had 8 offices in 4 states, and my involvement in chambers of commerce throughout the region, throughout 3 states really, was enhanced by those memberships. So the chamber membership can do a great deal for you, but only if you get involved. Buying a membership is not just enough. You need to be involved, you need to participate, And the chamber, I know I'm speaking to an audience here who are already members, but pass the word to your fellow business people. The chamber can do an awful lot for you, including programs today, which are free, and many other keynote speakers that we have. So I'm just going to say two things. I want to tell you a little bit about our presentation today. It's not our intention today to spend a great deal of time on what's already transpired. You know the numbers, you know what's happening out there. We don't need to spend time on that. Instead, we want to give you some real direction, some hands-on help as to how to help the businesses that are struggling today and want to do more than survive. They want to prosper. So how do you do that? We are hoping that our program is going to help you to do that. We're going to talk to you about management, and we're going to talk to you about people and your staff. And Phil's going to talk a lot about change, and he's got a perfect word called pivot. I do have 3 slides, and Phil's going to help me put up the slide.
We're going to do that. By the way, we will also talk about Mojo.
Okay.
Yay, thank you.
So Phil, help me make this happen.
So
Here's my Zoom.
yeah. Let me make sure
Okay,
I
we're
get
just making sure we do it right, guys.
Okay. Give me 1 second here.
Zoom.
Bear with us. We're good at what we do, and this is secondary at the moment. Got to get back.
Return to meeting.
To the meeting. This thing just goes to-
Okay, and then share the
The
screen.
screen is right.
Just bear
And-
with us a minute, okay?
and
There we
there
go.
it
Here's the
is.
first one.
And go. The
Okay.
magic of theater.
The reason that I was fortunate enough to participate and have information about a wonderful seminar put on for managers and business owners by Netflix. Great role model, doing very well. And what they stressed was that if you want your company, an organization to succeed, you have to start first with yourself. So I have 3 very quick slides. The first one is the best managers figure out how to get great outcomes by setting the appropriate context rather than by trying to control their people. This is going to be a session about management and people. So we're not looking for anyone to be a dictator with their staff. We're going to help you to be a more effective manager and therefore hopefully control your outcome.
Yeah, and I would say that a good way to think about this is that it's the organization that makes the leader successful, not the other way around. You've got to focus on having a high-functioning, capable organization.
And the next slide that I got, here we go again. Okay. When you're tempted to control your people, ask yourself what context you could set instead. In other words, are you, it comes back to you, articulate and inspiring enough about goals and strategies? I've always tried to be, in my personal experience, an inspirational leader. I'm very much empowered the people with whom I worked, not worked for me, with whom I worked, to take, I saw Kathy smile there, empower people to go forward and complete the task, complete the mission, know the goal, know the mission. So I try to communicate that. And I think you need to do that too. Phil, comments?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, when it comes down to it, there's really only 2 ways that we influence people as leaders. One is to inspire, which is ideally what we look to do, and the other is to manipulate. And sometimes that may seem like the right way to go, but I think the evidence shows that we need to inspire others so that they perform.
And then the third slide that came from that session, it was absolutely remarkable. The actual company values, as opposed to the nice sounding values, are shown by who gets rewarded, promoted, or let go. And that goes to what's taking place today, obviously, as a result of COVID. What are your values? Make sure you know what they are, and then implement them, and implement them through your employees. Again, I'm not a big believer in a dictatorship. I'm a believer in decisions by consensus and management by consensus. And that's basically the part of this slide.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of values show up in who you attract and who you retain. One of the great thoughts around that is people will judge you by what you tolerate. People will assume that what you tolerate, you endorse. So you need to be consistent and positive and get the right people doing the right things.
So those are the 3 slides that I kind of pirated from Netflix and a session that I attended. It had 272 slides. I took the 3 that I thought were most appropriate for today. So today what we're going to do is to focus on helping you deal with the changing dynamics of work and the impact on your employees. Work from home, challenges, work from home. How do you manage this work from home staff? Phil's going to talk a little bit about that. Do you want to have employees who work from home? Not every business is appropriate to having that. And so what do you do when you can't have that? Not all businesses are going to be able to do that. The second part of our presentation today is going to be about the talent that you need. We will be covering how you assess and who do you put on staff. So Phil, do you want to talk a little bit about managing a work from home staff?
Yeah. I don't know how many people here today are facing the challenges of work at home staff, or maybe are running companies that are entirely still working from home. I think the biggest challenge is that it exposes your ability to have cohesion with your people, to the ability to communicate effectively and have people respond to the needs of the organization. In that if you're not doing that effectively in a traditional office setting, the problems get, exploded when you've got remote workforces. So you need to be able to create presence with people. You need to be able to have clear messages that not only people can understand, but that people can take forward. Just simply talking the talk as a leader with a remote workforce may not get the results that you want.
Yeah, I had some people a client who talked to me about the fact that she, a business owner, felt she was losing her relationship with her employees. The Zoom just wasn't working. She used to come in the morning and chat with everybody on a personal basis, and that wasn't working as effectively for her. Everybody would sign in at whatever start time was. What I suggested to her was that she create individual Zoom sessions, have the Zoom session, yes, with the employees who are on staff, and do all the kinds of things management-wise that she needed to do, but then to have an individual session, especially with key people who are very important to your continued operation. Arrange for a session, didn't have to be long, 15, 20 minutes, try to reconnect, have that personal contact over the screen. Yeah. And she seemed to think that worked pretty well.
I would say so. And it's really interesting that if you're the boss, you walk into the office, and whether you realize it or not, everyone's eyes are on you. They figure out your mood, they figure out what's going on, they read everything based on what you telegraph. And in a Zoom meeting, if you just get on and you're a Muppet or a talking head, right, people don't know what to figure. And that's very disquieting and sometimes scary to your employees, as well as undermining your ability to really make a difference. So if you're going to be working remotely with people, I think, Donna, you're right. People need to have that one-on-one time, but it has to be real. You have to get on the line and make sure that your environment speaks to a place of, proper authority, that you present yourself, professionally, and that you connect. You have to really have empathy and understand that Zoom isn't live, but it works if you can connect.
One of the things that Phil and I did before we did this session together is we said, what's some of the key words we're going to talk about? Because it's really, we didn't have a narrative here. I'm going to read to you XYZ. It's business experience that we have individually, collectively, and from our clients with whom we work. One of the words you just used was scary, fear. Your employees are fearful. They don't know what's going on. The ones who are on furlough, they don't know what's going on. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Business owners are fearful. Nobody knows what's going on. So how and what can you do to make the change? One of the things I'm going to recommend right now is that you, as a business owner, a manager, recognize that you have to invest more time, and you have to invest more time in research. and research as relates to your business, your industry, what's happening out there. You have to be the source of knowledge to your employees. You have to be the source of knowledge that guides the direction of the company. Network, associations, other associations, chambers, one vehicle, but get involved in associations in your industry. This is not a plug for us, but use consultants. Call somebody you know who may have some knowledge that you need and find out, get direction. What do you think about my idea to do this? What do you think about my idea to do that? You don't have to go it alone. It's a scary time out there, but you do not have to go it alone. There are resources.
Yeah, and just to double down on that, the fear that people in your organization, experience is pretty universal right now. Just consider it. Some people that are furloughed are fearful that they're not going to be reemployed. People that are employed are fearful they're going to get laid off. People that are working and valuable are fearful that the company may fail. I mean, just goes on and on and on. And fear is just one of those things that as managers and owners and leaders we need to combat. The last thing that I think we need to do is create false certainty when things are uncertain. The way that you show strength to your employees and settle them down is when you show your own, I'm going to call it vulnerability. It doesn't mean that you have to just be so vulnerable.
Yeah, don't go wringing your hands in despair like, I don't know what's happening out there.
No, not at all. But I think what you come up with is you show that you're curious. You show that you're in what I call learning mode. And you're honest with people about that. You tell them the truth. You say, look, I don't know the right answers, but we're going to find them out and we're going to work together. I need your input. And as long as you continue to ask questions and then ask questions of your employees and really let them know that their contributions, are important.
Keep them involved.
Even if you know better, I think one of the greatest, lines, if a person asks you what to do, the best thing you can say to them is, I don't know, what do you think? Oh. And it's easy for us to feel that we need to have the answers and solutions and provide the guidance. But in this world, that does not provide assurance. It instead makes people that much more addicted to you getting it right. And we're going to all get it wrong sometimes.
Another word that I had in my notes was the word measurable. When I had my businesses and we had the offices and locations, it was easy to measure somebody's contributions. Oh, he was at his desk from, 8:30 to 5:30 every day. He was there, he was working, or so it seemed. Sometimes it wasn't, but that was a measurable. Now it's difficult. How do you measure? In a sales environment, Phil, you can measure results. You can say, oh, he or she's done great. They're measurable. It doesn't appear as though they're not in the office. I didn't think they were working that hard, but look, we have sales. But what do you do with your other employees? You have to come up with some vehicle by which you can measure their contributions. And for those who have employees with small children at home or distractions, you have to be sensitive. Not that you need to lose your business on it, but you need to be sensitive and aware of the challenges they are facing. And I think one of the things you need to do is acknowledge it. Again, talk to them. I understand you have some challenges on productivity, but let's see what we can do to make it easier on you. Are there different time slots they can work? How do you measure their performance? Every business is different. So you're going to have to come up with your own tools to do that. But you have to be able to measure the performance and the contributions they're making, in today's changing world.
I do think so. And it's interesting what I'm seeing in mid-sized companies. I know a lot of major corporations are also shifting from what we used to have as traditional KPIs. We used to be guided by key performance indicators. And the shift is to OKRs, objectives and key results. And it's an important distinction because we can focus not on what people are doing, that they're checking off the box, but what they're accomplishing that's meaningful and significant. And now I'm going to indulge Lynn by bringing in that word mojo, because the value of providing people with the means to accomplish things that are meaningful to them and meaningful to others is the source of really joy in our lives. I know this to be true, and I think most people understand it. We feel joy when we accomplish things. It's that sense of accomplishment, and especially when we accomplish things that benefit others. And in the workplace, that's what it's all about. You don't come to work to only benefit yourself. If you're not helping your team, your customers, the world, you just don't get that. And I think that as leaders, that's the source of opportunity to help people engage and also feel some shelter from that uncertainty. And when you have that kind of an environment, you not only retain people, you develop them, they grow for you, they become conscientious, they become more competent.
People, that's what it's all about. Your business, even if you're a sole proprietorship or a solopreneur, you are dependent upon people to take your company to the next level to be successful. So I want to talk for just a minute more about the staffing issue, because I think it's particularly important. Number one, if you have somebody on furlough and you really don't think you're going to be bringing that person back, own up, get to them and tell them so they can begin looking for a new opportunity. Number two, how do you decide who you're going to keep? You have to take a look at your business as it is today. It's probably very different than it was 6 months ago. What's your business today? How many people do you need? Who do you need on staff? And make a decision as to who and what type of person you're going to hire. Take those job descriptions that are in your cabinet drawer on your computer, get rid of them. It's different now. What do you really need from an employee? What do you need him or her to do? Get rid of the job description. Write new ones, create new ones. When you begin to interview, there's two things you have to be careful of, and this is brief. This is nowhere near as long as it could be in a session that I give about hiring practices. But the number one thing is you have to avoid the angel and the pitchfork. Now, I had 2 hokey slides, but I was afraid to put them up because Phil would say, oh my God, that's so hokey. But they were, I know. Angel, pitchfork. The angel candidate comes in the office or you see it on Zoom and he reminds you of your best buddy in college and how much fun the two of you had. And he was such an honorable, competent guy that before you know it, you're instilling in that individual those qualities. Nope, don't do it. Same kind of thing with the pitchfork. Somebody comes in to your operation or you're interviewing them on a virtual interview and she reminds you of an employee who stole from you or who was the worst employee you ever had, and automatically you start to negate that person. Again, big mistake. What you need to do is you need to create a list of questions that you're going to ask every candidate, the same questions, and start out, and then you're comparing candidate to candidate. You're not comparing a pre-existing concept that you had about somebody. You're not taking and liking Pete because he's a good tennis player, or Sam because he noticed the picture of the sailboat on your office wall. You are comparing person to person. That's a very important step in today's hiring. And don't think, by the way, that just because there's millions of people out there, that there's a lot more candidates for you. There may not be, because your requirements are going to change. You're going to be much more stringent. And you do have to, here I'm investing the time again, you have to invest the time to find the right player for your company.
You know, it's so funny. I love actually better than the slide, the concept of the angel and the pitchfork.
Well, I had, it's a little devil with the pitchfork and it's a little angel and she's very cute, but I said, Phil's not going to want me to put those up there.
And bolts kind
Yeah,
of guy
I know.
But taking it up, a notch on that, the most interesting thing is watching, again, I'm mostly looking at CEOs of small and middle-sized companies who are involved in the hiring themselves.
Right.
And they do two things that are so absolutely contrary to getting the best employees. The first thing they do is they do the selling. They get in front of a candidate and they tell how wonderful the company is.
Right.
And then they wait for applause. And not that you don't want to, play up your company's benefits, but someone you're going to hire at that level is going to have to do that research themselves. You want to hear them tell you what's interesting about the company, show that they've given some time and research. And then the other part of that is you know, hiring agents, when they're owners in particular, close to the company, will fall in love with candidates like you talk about. And, you know, they check off the boxes right away. Can they do the job? You know, do they look the part? Are they tall enough, strong enough, whatever it is? And then they back into all the other qualities that are necessary because they have already made up their mind. This is the right person. And you really have to start with the more essential qualities. You know, are they a good fit? And I always look at, are they curious, adaptable? Can they frame things with some humility and realize that you're not hiring them for the answers, you're hiring them to accomplish things, to ask questions. And if they're know-it-alls and they have no concept of you know, adapting, not going to work. And then you have to figure out, what do they care about? If they don't care about what's important to you and your company, it's never going to work out. So I always warn people, you can make sure they have the rough qualities, but don't fall in love with them because you think they can do it.
The summary before we go on to the next subject, which is to help businesses enduring this time. I want to bring up Phil's favorite word, by the way. Don't simply hire someone you like. Hire somebody who can do the job. Don't hire somebody you like. Hire somebody who can do the job. Say that to yourself over and over at the top of the paper and the notes you keep. Can this person do the job that I need? If they can't do it, thank them for their time. Be honest. Again, go back to your former employees or those who are on furlough. If you're not going to rehire them and bring them back, if you've taken a look and you realize you need different type of talent, be honest. Let them begin the job searching because there are jobs out there. It may not be the jobs that they had before, but there are jobs out there.
So I'm gonna jab you on this one.
Oh dear, here we go.
It's
Okay,
It's gonna start.
What?
That's the most critical thing. But then the more esoteric, the more difficult thing is, if they can do the job, will they do the job? Because
doesn't that go back to the original though, inspiring leadership?
That's exactly right. You know, if you, and I think that's what you have to figure out, is whether or not these candidates are receptive to what it's like to work in a dynamic environment where things are less certain, things are going to change, particularly right now. And, you know, and you need to try to figure out, you know, whether people are going to align with that philosophy, whatever it is that you need them to do, because there are so many people, you know, we say that the people who can but don't teach. Right. You know, we have plenty of those. We need to find the people that can and will.
We have another whole session on talent density, how to find the best talent, how to link them together, how to make your team maximize performance, but we don't have time for that today.
Not today.
Today, we are going to talk about Phil's favorite word, pivot. I said to him in our pre-discussions, I don't want this just to be theory. How do we help the listeners? How do we help the participants in this session to gain and walk away with something that can help their businesses not just survive, but to prosper? I hate that term, survive. Don't just survive, thrive. It's so overused. But how do you prosper? How do you make it through this time to get out of this tough time, to be in a place where you can then rebuild your business, reformat? What do you do? How do we do it? What can we tell them? And so Phil said the word pivot. Pivot? Okay, pivot.
There we go. So I'm going to start off by saying, you know, everyone, I think, has a COVID hangover. We're just tired of talking about it, thinking about it. We got to get past it. We got to emerge on the other side. So what does that look like? Well, I think, you know, to see where you're going, you have to look at where we are. And that is an individual company, and that is in the environment we're working in. And before we get to pivot, by the way, ice cream is more of my favorite word than pivot.
Okay, all right. Hokey, so hokey. I told him don't be hokey. He's hokey. I'm sorry.
But today my word will be pivot. But, to understand it, look at it this way. There are companies in three basic buckets right now, and you might be in one of them. So the worst bucket to be in are those that are struggling. The number of companies that are gone or struggling or failing is just unprecedented, and it's a problem, right? And if you're in that bucket, you know, and hopefully you're not, you have to figure out how you're going to shift gears and get yourself back on strong footing and emerge, and ideally emerge stronger than before this whole mess started. That's one bucket. And then we have the big companies that are doing just fine. They can ride through, storms. They are taking advantage of opportunities that come along, and they can just wait it out. And, we're not that group here. We are more entrepreneurial. We are more focused on making things happen than waiting for them to happen.
That's right.
And then that middle group is really the interesting thing to me. And those are the companies that identify themselves more. I'm going to use the word entrepreneurial, but people think that that's a startup. It just really means that you're willing to take the risks necessary to create something. And in this middle group, these are the companies that are ready and prime and need to pivot. And what do I mean by that? It means that we need to look at what we can do differently than we had done before. How do we measure the strengths that we have against the opportunities?
Mhm.
How do we let go of the things that we thought were absolutely, ironclad in our businesses, in our markets? And we need to look instead to how do we let go of that and find a different direction or pivot. And when Donna and I talked about this, one of the critical things about pivoting is you or the leadership of the company has to be unafraid or be courageous about doing something different. And then you need people who can carry the water. You need people who are going to understand that it feels scary because it requires courage. It is a point of being uncomfortable, but I say we need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's where reaching out to, whether it's coaching or resources and consultants that can help give some clarity to what your opportunities
So
are.
that some company has a new idea. Oh my, what I've been doing isn't working. It's like the people that we know. I know a company that made gin. Okay, actually, it's a businessman from this region whose facility happens to be outside the area. He made alcohol. I shouldn't say gin, alcohol, drinking alcohol, and it was good too. Anyway, he pivoted and now makes a hand sanitizer. A lot of the same process, and the manufacturing the same kind of product. He pivoted quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Was he fearful? Yes, because selling a bottle of alcohol is X price and a container of sanitizer is much less. Was he going to be able to make enough money on the sanitizer, increase the volume to the point where he could? And he has. And is he going to become a multimillionaire over again? I'm not sure of that, but he has. So the new idea took courage. He was fearful. He got his employee buy-in. I think we're going to go again back to this management. You can have the best idea in the world, but you refer to them people that carry the water. If you don't have people shoulder by shoulder with you to accomplish the goals, if you can't get them bought in, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and a cautionary tale on this, that pivoting doesn't mean going to the obvious choice. I have a client who is a manufacturer, happens to supply abrasives to the woodworking and metal industry.
Okay.
And when everything shut down, they said, oh, well, they always needed respirators and masks. So we're going to go into the personal protection equipment business, and we're going to bring in tons of masks and push them out into the market. And it was a great idea, and it was very helpful, but obviously a lot of people had the same idea.
Right.
And instead of it being a brilliant business move, it turned out to be a terrible decision.
Well,
But they needed to try it. But the important thing is that they can't stop there. You can't just say, okay, well, that didn't work. Pivoting in this case is looking at what they need to do to change the structure of their company so they can survive.
hey,
during
healthcare
smaller-
did it brilliantly when they telemedicine was dabbling. They were dabbling a little in telemedicine, and now it's full force telemedicine.
That's
So they were able to say, what's the need of the consumer out there? What's the need of my audience? And it happens to be for medicine, but they can't come in. they're reluctant to come in. How do we make it happen? So
That's
they
right.
pivoted very successfully.
That's right.
Each person on this session and everybody we consult with, we have to say, is there a different way that you can be doing business? Not necessarily change your business model completely. You need to refine it. Is there something you should be doing? Is your audience exactly the same, or has your audience changed? You know, the one company I know does a lot of rental of sports equipment, bicycles and kayaks and all those kinds of things. Now, you wouldn't think that the COVID was going to make them have to pivot, but they did. They
Yeah.
needed to now go rent equipment from other places so they can meet the supply and demand. So they became both a provider and they became a customer.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So what do you need to do with your company? How can you change it? Do you need to change it? Or do you just need to refine something in a small way? That's Phil's word, pivot.
So, you know, to give a successful side of pivot on this, another company is a 5th generation supplier of craft materials, yarn
Oh,
and so
okay.
forth. Okay. And all of the retail stores just shut down, and the company was headed in the worst direction imaginable.
Okay.
But at the same time, online sales through Amazon, which had been modest, not only picked up the slack, but it opened up entire new markets for them. Now, good news and bad news about that kind of growth. One was they saw a new opportunity, but they needed to restructure their organization to support it.
Right.
They didn't have the buying power. They didn't have the logistics to supply Amazon to the extent that this was exploding. And during the first 3 months of that pivot, they were highly underperforming against their potential just because they couldn't meet that demand. Now, when they're looking at forecasting their business plan and growth for 2021 and beyond, they've shifted from being a traditional distributor to being a direct-to-consumer company, and it's a change of dynamics that includes leadership and staffing and facilities.
Right. One of the things I want to mention before we go to questions, and I believe we'll have some question and answer. If you feel that you are basically hitting your head against the wall, or you're just can't see clearly what the future holds for you during these times, not that anybody can see clearly, but you don't have a clear enough picture for yourself, I encourage you to pause, to step back, invest the time to do the research. I mentioned that again. You must reach out to others to find out ideas, solutions, be creative, do some research online, ask your suppliers, ask your employees, and you will make it through. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to have you make some hard choices. I have a client who doesn't want to let go of somebody who's been with them for a long time, but that role that person had isn't going to exist going forward. So a hard choice. He needs to let that person go. He needs to speak to them honestly, do what he can to ease the transition time. But it's time for you to be tough. Your business needs to survive. If you take care of your business will take care of you. The business needs to survive.
Yeah, and you know, one of the great resources that you have, everybody here, is in the chamber, and it's because leading people is isolating as it is. You know, that expression for bosses that it's lonely at the top.
Yep,
It's
true.
It is
It's true.
absolutely true. And you know, you don't have to be the boss. You can just be the person that has to, you know, manage your team or just manage one other
Right.
person. And that sense of isolation can be profound on a normal scale. But, you know, with people working from home, Zoom meetings, it makes it just that much worse. And the only, you know, antidote to that is collaboration. You need people to talk to.
Mhm.
And, you know, sometimes you come to professional people and say, you know, this is what's going on. But as good as that is just talking to colleagues, talking to other business owners, getting together and just asking them what they're doing. And to your point, if you need to get rid of an employee who's just not going to fit into the picture, to find the strength and courage and sometimes get a push to do that. Just talking to people who are in your shoes,
Right. It's
can-
a tough time. These are tough times. Phil,
You
I didn't mean
need-
to interrupt you, but these are tough times. There's no crystal ball. We've never been here before. We don't know what it's going to be like. That's why we're volunteering our time to do the session to help businesses. We will make it out the other side. Okay, we will. And,
we talk about embracing the uncertainty, not running away from it, because that's what we do as business leaders. We
Yes.
turn the situation
Mhm.
into, real opportunities. And I think we should just, address before we go to questions, that notion of, the changing workforce that you're going to need to make this transition. It's not only a matter of getting rid of or relocating people that are no longer a fit or affordable to you. It's determining what kind of people you need and how do you attract them, how do you hire them and onboard them. And we're not going to jump into the whole
Well, the
detail.
onboarding is another whole session. How to take a new employee and
That's
put
right.
them in. Yeah.
But I
another
do
whole
think
session
I
about-
didn't want to avoid that because
Mhm.
it's not just hiring them. You could hire the best person
So I
in
said,
the world.
throw away the job descriptions. Any job description you had before, get rid of it.
Yeah.
It probably is not applicable right now.
Yeah.
Things have changed. Your business has changed. You've changed.
Yeah, the accomplishment isn't hiring somebody. It's guiding them to be a high performing employee who again finds joy in their work. That moments of overwhelming joy they can get, that mojo. If you don't get people, feeling it and behaving with that kind of drive, quite honestly, you're going to struggle to compete with companies that are taking advantage of.
And then one more thing to say on that whole thing, money's not the criteria. Most people, when they change jobs, it's not about money. So don't think you need to buy your talent. Most people, and this is a national statistic, it's been in effect for 20 years, people make a job change because they don't feel appreciated. Number one reason they didn't make a job change because they don't feel appreciated. So don't think you need to go out and inflate salaries in order to get good talent. Learn how to take care of your employees and your employees will take care of you.
On that one note,
Oh my gosh, we
I
have to go
know.
to
we're
questions.
going to do it right now. I was just going to
Okay.
say because it's such a perfect opportunity to say,
Okay.
we used to struggle up here where people would say, well, I'm going to go work in Manhattan because I
Oh.
could make that money. And that's changed, isn't it?
Yes, it has
people
changed.
now are going to give up some of that salary to not have to commute, to feel safer working close to home. And we have an opportunity to provide
More than
them.
that, quality of life is moved up in the ranks.
Absolutely.
Okay, the word success, the whole definition of the word success has changed during this time.
It has.
Yeah.
Values have shifted.
Right.
I think now we can go to questions.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Lynn, do we have any questions coming in? You're on mute, Lynn.
I know.
Okay.
There we go. I had to unmute myself. While we're waiting, please feel free to start writing the questions in the chat. But I have a question, and this has to do with the Phil, what you were speaking about is that pivoting. I'm sensing that you're encouraging us as leaders, as business owners, to really embrace the uncomfortable, to get comfortable with this. And for lack of a better word, to be honest and kind of embrace what is known as the suck, that this is not a happy place. This is not the time for unicorns and rainbows, as you had said, Donna. To be around people who are like-minded. And I know for myself, when I am around my closest friends and we are in our safe zone and we are able to be honest with each other, it doesn't feel as lonely. And it doesn't feel that I am the only one feeling a certain way. But I think what you mentioned is that it's important to be around people who are like-minded. There's a lot of people who are just, for lack of a better word, like Debbie Downers. There's just doom and gloom. And even though there is so much bad, there is a tremendous, with this, we're able to deconstruct where we are now, I would think, and really build something back better, for lack of a better word, but really deconstruct and pull things out. But what I want to ask you is, what are those things to help us become comfortable with the uncomfortable?
That's a great question. I'll make it real simple. One of them is you have to be clear about your sense of purpose, what it is that you're in it to accomplish. if you don't know it and you can't articulate it, you can't get people to get uncomfortable. Grit is the ability to do just that. And it comes from leadership providing people with a sense of why what you're doing makes sense, why it's important, and how you can frame, the meaning around your contribution. The idea that I just want to make sure that being around people who think like you do is helpful, but it's also a curse. You have to make sure that you have diversity of thinking, this idea of a confirmation bias, everybody thinking the same way. That's as dangerous as anything right now. So you want people who will be honest, like you said, the friends that you're with who will challenge your thinking, who will say, I don't know if that's what you should do, not tell you don't do it, but to say, ask questions of one another.
You're talking, I think, Lynn, my response to you would be about clarifying your goals. Not everybody is in business. Yes, everybody needs to make an adequate living and they need to be able to take care of the family. They need to be able to put food on the table, but not everybody is in business to say, wow, this is going to be my lotto ticket. What's your goal? What's your purpose? Is it to create a nice life so that you and your family or your loved ones can do X or Y or Z? Is it to have a mission? I was reading about a woman who took and left a corporate job, and she went into a mission to help people get body parts that they needed, the extra arm, the automated this. And why? She didn't explain why in the article, but it was a remarkable transition. Her mission came to help others who were disabled to find resources. So what's your mission? Why do you want to do that? And that is where the satisfaction comes from.
That's right.
I wrote a couple books, and this one book was about the life balance hoax, because I believe it is a hoax. That's another whole session. And the other book was Job Searching in Pandemic Times. And I sat down and I worked day after day, and over a 3-month period, diligently to try to put together everything that I knew about job searching. I'm not going to become a millionaire from that, okay? But I do have a resource. I'm giving it away as much as possible. I do have a resource people can use to help themselves through it. So that was my mission for that particular thing. That was my taste of success and satisfaction.
Right. I call that, conscientiousness that we look for in people, and we know that. But if you think about the word, it's conscience. It's that idea that there's something more than just meeting my own personal need that drives me. There's a greater need. It's the company, our clients, as I said, our customers. And when you have that, people will get comfortable.
That's what we talked about earlier. Corporate social responsibility. The large corporations, many of them are very cognizant of what's happening out there, obviously, and they want to help. And so through many different organizations that were normally a fee-based transaction, they're offering for free corporate social responsibility. Magazine companies, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Fast Company, Harvard, MIT Sloan. That's why I'm saying to the business owners or managers who are on this session, there are resources out there. Take the time, invest. You want your company to prosper. You want to prosper. You want to survive this at the levels you want. Do the research. There's information out there. Do we have any questions, or is everybody so happy with our presentation that it's so clear that they don't have a question?
I do not see anything in the chat box for questions, so we'll give it another minute to see if anybody has anything that you'd like to ask while we have Phil and Donna here. We do have a question. Pivoting is easier for larger organizations. What do those businesses, those small ones with less than 5 employees, do? Lack of resources and time is crucial.
So I'm going to challenge the premise. I think big corporations have a harder time pivoting. I think they tend to be highly invested in what they do and less responsive to threats. I mean, some of the biggest companies in the world that were highly successful failed to pivot, and we can talk about BlackBerry and Polaroid, and there are a million examples, but small businesses feel that it's harder to pivot because, again, it takes a level of support and courage. Someone once said the most dangerous words in business are "we've always done it that way," and yet it grips us. And when things are uncertain, we tend to try to reach for certainty, and that is hold on to what we're doing. So the answer to the question about small businesses, what you can do, I think, Lynn, you brought it up. It's a matter of seeing where you can get help in both facts and research, as Donna keeps pointing out very accurately. And the other is, where can you get personal support to be able to, face change and do what's necessary to make it. Someone once said that people don't fear change, they fear loss. Everyone's happy to change, meaning if I told you, you could, go from being, wealthy to being extremely wealthy, most people will say yes. But if the fear is that I'm going to do something and I'm going to lose my business, lose my clients, whatever it is, we tend to be more reserved.
I have something to say on that question, because the word time was in there. And I think one of the most important things that a person can do is to make sure they pivot, that they research. So whatever your duties are for a given day, I firmly believe that you can take a half day. There has to be a time when you can take a half day, 4 hours, and go do the research. If you can't do it then, do it at night. Yes, you're tired. I know. I understand. I was there. Okay. I was an entrepreneur with 1 employee, and I built it to have 100 employees, 8 offices in 4 states. I know tired as a business owner. I do know it. But take the time. You must invest the time. I'm not going to do my duties today, this morning. I'm going to pass them on. It's going to be on hold, and go do the research. Reach out to your chambers, to the other people you know. Reach out to successful organizations who are in your business. You'd be surprised at how much people are willing to help one another during these times. There is a camaraderie. It isn't, oh, wow, I can push that person out of business. It's not happening that way, at least not what I'm seeing, especially in Orange County and the Hudson Valley, especially in Orange County and the Hudson Valley.
There was a great book written maybe 25 years ago that's as relevant today as ever. It was Michael Gerber's The E-Myth, about entrepreneurial myth. And
Okay.
the primary thought in that book was finding time
Must.
to work on the business, not in the business.
That's it right there. That's beautiful. Beautiful. He wrote that book?
Yeah. The
Oh,
E-Myth.
he took the words right out of my mouth.
So, and I think we can't stress that enough. It's hard, but if you're, that's why, why you get the big bucks. It's actually why, you have everything at stake when you're an owner or a leader. And if you don't make the time, Stephen Covey would talk about, sharpening the saw. If you don't take time to sharpen the saw, you're going to waste a lot of energy trying to cut down the tree.
Exactly. Lynn, any other questions?
No, just lots of thanks. And also Anne Marie says, thank you for the excellent presentation. Also remember Mid-Hudson SHRM is an HR resource. So there's plenty of resources that are available, and you have both been a tremendous resource for us today. So Donna, if somebody has additional questions for you, if somebody says, well, I thought about a question later on, is there a way that they could perhaps reach out to you and Phil for more information, to work with you in the future?
Absolutely. We're both available, and I won't fill your calendar, but we'll make sure our contact information is available. And I'm happy to get on a 15-minute call or a Zoom with people that need my help without obligation or fee or anything. Already know that Donna's one of the most generous people, offering her time and resources to the people in our business community and beyond. And I like to think that I do the same. And, we're in it together.
Yeah, just as a way of explanation, the reason that I asked Phil to participate with me and to work with me on going forward on some presentations for clients is that we both have a similar background, but yet it's also different in some respects. And I feel that together as a team, we can help companies, a very wide range of companies, both from the entrepreneur, as I said, I started with 1 employee, to the multi-million-dollar corporation that is looking for help in how to also everybody's struggling. So we got together and we said, okay, we're going to try to join some forces. I'll retain my clients, he'll retain his clients, but we'll join some forces to see how we might help others out there. So that's why we're doing the dynamic duo routine, although today he kind of took the ball away from me a couple times he wasn't supposed to.
Well,
Only kidding.
that's how we shoot the baskets.
Okay,
you know?
and to restate, we are COVID allowed to be together. We did the whole thing we're supposed to do in order to be able to do this together. So
Yeah.
stay safe. I want everybody to stay safe. I want everybody to follow the rules and guidelines. That's very important. I want you to be back here again in 4 months when we need to do another session.
So thank you very much. If anybody has any questions and you want to get in touch with Donna or Phil, please, you can email me at lindsay@orangeny.com. You can text or call me on my cell, which is 845-551-9546. Also, I would strongly urge you to make sure that you subscribe. And if you are subscribed, check your box. We send out 3 emails a week. One about member happenings, all the things the other members are doing. Other things on Monday email that I put out myself has all the new legislation that's coming in. Some of it's HR. Janet Giannette has been a big help with that. Things that you need to know to continue. So make sure that you subscribe to that. You can subscribe to that at info@orangeny.com, and we'll make sure that you're on the subscribe list for our emails. And then also just check our website. There's, as Donna and Phil so graciously said, there is a lot going on. They have been just Donna, and Phil, I have to tell you, I have 3 pages of notes. So I want to thank you so much for this. Please, everybody, be safe. Make sure you wear your masks. As you all know, our numbers in Orange County are going up. We are, just to let you know, we are going to be doing a flu clinic with Cornerstone Family Healthcare. Make sure you have your flu shot. You don't want to have 2 viruses at the same time. Make sure you wash your hands, social distance, wear your mask, be kind to each other, because the underlying thing, Donna, is that what you and Phil both said, which I think is the underlying message I want to leave with everybody, is that we are all human, and that is the undergirding thing for everything. Everything is to really build a better world for ourselves and our children and going forward. So with that, I want to thank you again for being our speakers today, and I want to thank everybody for being on. Kathy, thank you for sponsoring. Here's help, and Scott and Jackie Frosco from Orange and Rockland. So everybody have a great day, be safe, wash your hands, wear your mask, all the good stuff. Thank you.